Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday to all of you out there in the ethos. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I am your co host, Trey Holiday. And you guys, I just got to say here I am again in the studio on my lonesome. Oh, yeah, can you show them? It's just me here today. No Big O, no co host. He's not with me here, but he's always with us because he stays working wherever he is. Let's bring in Mr. Big O.
All right, man. Happy Friday to you. Trey Holiday is good. I'm here at Salisbury Studios. We've got a great show lined up today. We've got council president, and I had put council member on the graphic, and I thought about it. It's got to put some respect on it. Council President Lorena Gonzalez, who is now a candidate for mayor of Seattle. So we're going to be talking to her live here shortly. We got comedian Sweeng One in the building, and I'm looking for my nephew. I'm supposed to have my nephew in the end part of the show, so we'll see if he makes it. I want to stop right now and encourage everybody to tag and share the stream, especially tag and share with somebody who could really appreciate this culturally relevant, curated information coming to you from Converge Media. And Trey Holiday, that's some nice lipstick you got there. Blue's your color.
Yeah,
trying to coordinate.
A little bit of blue and brown today. We doing it.
All right. Look, we're going to jump right into it. And before we get to council president, wanted to put this up here from our friends, our partners, actually, over the South Seattle Emerald. Black History Today, Bayon Coleman. And so now I know you know Bayon personally. Why don't you tell us about it?
Absolutely. And what a great tribute to Bayon, indeed. A fellow Garfield graduate with me. So again, we love to point that out. And also the CEO and principal of Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. Right now, Bayon is doing amazing things and breaking barriers in the world of education. Clearly a real community member who has gone through so many different levels. She was actually my little sister's mentor at Rainier Scholars. So she's just carrying her education platform to a whole new level. And Rainier Valley Leadership Academy right now is accepting applications for enrollment for next year. They want to make sure that this is a message that goes out to community, because as the only charter school in Washington State that centers itself on decolonized education, they want to make sure our babies are there, that they are in an environment that really celebrates their culture and who they are as Black and brown people. And they do that in a wide variety of ways by having majority of their staff also looking like the students, so students can see themselves in the educators that are going to be with them. And so shout out to RVLA, shout out to Miss Bayon, a true honor indeed.
Yeah, making Black history every day. So you can read more about that again at the SouthSeattleEmerald.com. And also a great place to go is RainierAvenue.radio. Lots of Black history content. So we've got the council.
And I think Nikki too is going to be putting in the comments the link for folks if they want to register their kids for RVLA. Just another tip there.
Yeah, definitely. You can catch that right there. So man, the race for mayor is heating up. And this is one of these names that we were kind of thinking early on. We're gonna wait and see. We're gonna wait and see what happens. But council president Lorena Gonzalez put her name into the hat. I guess we would say. It's February, so the hat might actually get bigger. But this is how Council President Gonzalez made her announcement to the world.
To a first-generation American, daughter of migrant farm workers who grew up working the cherry orchards of Central Washington, Seattle was my dream. One that I dedicated myself to as I worked my way through college, one I got a little closer to when I earned my law degree from Seattle U, one I helped protect for others as a civil rights attorney fighting for farm worker kids, and one I began to achieve when I started my own family here. But when you start your life as a migrant farm worker, you learn any dream has to be worked for every day, even if that dream is a city. So I ran for city council and got to work, doing what it takes to bring people together to pass, paid family leave and expanded pre-K, protections for victims of sexual abuse, expanding LGBTQ rights, election reforms that protect the voice of the people, and pandemic assistance to help workers and small businesses survive. COVID hit us first, and it hit us hard. And we didn't choose that, but we get to choose what Seattle does next. And I believe we can build a city where diversity is our strength, where all kinds of businesses can grow, where our jobs pay a living wage, a city that leads the world in protecting our climate, a city with safe, affordable housing for all its people, and a city that truly transforms public safety to meet this civil rights moment. My name is Lorena Gonzalez. I believe we can do all this and more if we dream big and work hard, because I believe in Seattle and I'm ready to be your mayor.
All right, that might be one of the matter of fact. Let's bring her in. Oh yeah, please bring in Council President Gonzalez. Good morning.
Grand Rising.
I feel like I'm done here.
Yeah.
Move on now.
All right, man. Good stuff on the video. That's a nice video there. And welcome to the race for mayor of Seattle. And before we jump into some questions and answers with you, want to give you this moment to explain to the good citizens here of the Emerald City why. I know you put more in the video, but you directly from you. Why is now the time? Why you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the video captures it, of course. But of course, thanks, Trey and Omari, for having me with you this morning. It's so good to be in your company, and really appreciate it. You know, simply put, I still believe in this city. We have a lot of challenges, but I still believe that we have a lot of opportunities. And I'm hopeful that if we, as I said in the video, dream big and work hard, we're going to be able to take on issues of income inequality, issues related to police brutality, issues related to getting our economy back on track and our people back to work. These are all things that I've been working on hard for the last 6 years in this public service role, but also as a civil rights attorney before I got here for 10 years. And I really believe that we have so much opportunity to move our city towards a path of shared and collective prosperity. And I think we can do that when we come together, when we center those who've been harmed the most by lack of investment, and by rolling up our sleeves on day one and getting to work on these issues. This is a historic moment and a historic opportunity. And I'm proud to be able to make the case to voters in the city of Seattle as to why I'm the right choice for the next mayor.
All right. So now of all the candidates that come through so far, you're number 4 now. We appreciate you being here, but you're the only one that's holding an elected office, which also means that you have a record because you're in elected office. Now, the timing on this, I want to be timely in headlines. And so this was yesterday. This was from SECinsight.com. Judge Robart shares harsh words for the city council in consent decree. And then let me just read this right here. From Judge Robart, you have a lot of leeway in where you go, but you can't simply charge off in a direction without knowing what the consequences are and having in place plans to replace essential services currently being provided by the police. If you do that, then you'll start to violate provisions in the court's consent decree. I bring that up, one, so you could kind of talk about policing and equity around that. But also, I'll be honest with you, Council President, City Council is like, on the popularity scale of citizens in Seattle, City Council is pretty low as a whole in their overall ratings or view. You're coming from City Council and you want to go and be mayor. This is a big issue right here around policing. With this consent decree, we heard from the judge yesterday. What are some of your comments?
I think policing and public safety is still a really important issue for everybody in the city, and I share those same concerns, and I again come to this work as a civil rights attorney, as somebody who held police officers accountable for hurting people and for violating people's civil rights for 10 years before coming to the city council. So I know a thing or two about police accountability and reform and making sure that we're protecting people's civil rights. I think that we have a lot of opportunity to sort of dig into how we are going to transform public safety. This is forward-looking work. It's an opportunity for us to bring together a lot of diverse voices on this issue, and really be serious about looking at what it is we think should have a traditional law enforcement response, and what are some things that we need to scale up and invest in over time to replace law enforcement responses. Things like human services, right? Youth violence interruption, employment programs, education, prenatal care, health care. These are the things that are going to do more to prevent crime than merely counting patrol vehicles on our streets in the city, which do not create a feeling of safety for everyone in the city. So our challenge is to find ways to come together to produce true equitable community safety. This is long-term work, and I'm committed to the long haul around doing that work together with those who've been harmed the most by the system, but also everyone who relies on the system of public safety.
Right. Trey Holiday?
Yes, I think that public safety is a huge concern for so many people in the city, as well as our homelessness issue. I see there in your video, you were talking about kind of tackling the affordable housing crisis that we have here in the city. And I really want to understand more about how you plan to do that and bring in affordable housing units, but also expand our opportunities for shelters, and really Seattle leading in terms of creating a new pathway for those who are going from affordable housing to get them into affordable home ownership opportunities as well.
That's a really great question. I think for me, it's important for me to be able to say that homelessness is, I think, first and foremost an issue of poverty and not being able to have access to basic needs and basic services that are supposed to lift us up out of poverty and allow us to have self-determination and empowerment for ourselves and for our families. I grew up really poor in Central Washington State as a migrant farm worker, lived in migrant labor camps, moved around a lot over the summer because we lived in labor camps. No running water, no toilets, and harsh environments. So I understand what it means to live in poverty and to overcome poverty. And so I think affordability is one of those things that we continue to wrestle with in the city. The city has done a lot in terms of increasing the amount of money we're investing in affordable housing, but there's always more that we can do. And I think that for me, it's important when we're talking about affordability and homes that we're not just talking about supply. Yes, we need more housing choices. We need to make sure that these redlining laws and exclusionary zoning laws are finally put to rest so that we can truly have more housing choices throughout the city. But we also need to not just talk about this as a supply of housing issue. This is really fundamentally about, are we being invested in as communities of color to have economic empowerment? And that's about income inequality. It's about making sure that we have access to living wage jobs. It's about making sure that we can graduate from high school and go to career or college. It's about making sure that we don't end up experiencing homelessness because we don't have access to healthcare and we have to go bankrupt and lose our home. So these are really significant issues in our community, some that I've personally experienced, that I have close family members that are experiencing. And we tackle this by making sure that we're addressing the supply side issues, but also investing in those upstream economic empowerment strategies that we know will allow us to break the chains of poverty.
Right. And now, ma'am, the city of Seattle 700,000 residents. The city itself, 11,000 employees. There's 35 different departments that report to the mayor, even beyond ambitious goals that really all the candidates want to achieve. Maybe you can speak to your qualifications to be able to run this operation called the City of Seattle. Tens of thousands, like I said, 11,000 employees.
It's a big management job, right? I think I bring to this opportunity the skill sets of being in government, in local government in particular. I have strong relationships with the departments. I started off my career at the city working in a mayoral administration, and began then developing my relationships with people in the agencies and department heads. As a council member, you have an opportunity to interact, and do interact very regularly with a lot of the different department directors throughout the city, and get a good understanding. We're a little bit of a jack of all trades in that way. You get a good understanding of the breadth of the work that the city does on the executive side. And then lastly, I'll say, I was really lucky and humbled and honored to be elected by my fellow council members to be the president of the city council. That means that I am running the operations and managing the operations of the entire legislative branch. Certainly not as big as the executive branch, but we face a lot of the same operations and management issues related to budget, staffing, personnel, and division directors. So functionally, I have been working on those leadership skills and bring that set of experience to the resume here.
Right. And one other thing here, they're from the Seattle Times today.
Mm-hmm.
Warning sign for downtown. Seattle sees biggest drop in demand for office space. In reading that's from the FYI guy over there at the Seattle Times, and reading that and seeing, our studio is downtown. Our hearts are always in the Central District, but our studio is downtown, and we know that a lot of businesses have disappeared, a lot of that due to COVID. It's tough right now for so many businesses. What's your stance? I mean, we get Seattle's real divided city. When we talk about, it's big business or small business, X, Y, Z. And how are you going to approach, I guess, one, bridging the gap amongst business, but also creating these economic drivers and getting our city back going again, especially as we come out of COVID?
Yeah, well, I think it's really important to acknowledge that COVID COVID was first reported right here in our community. And so we have in Seattle and in our region not only been hit first by COVID, but in a lot of ways we've been hit the hardest, and we've been enduring it for the longest because it hit us first. And so a lot of the business closures that we're seeing are directly related to the economic restrictions that are needed to make sure that our public health is preserved, and that we don't continue to lose our relatives to this infection and this virus. So we have a long road ahead this year to make sure that we are doing what we can at the city to have COVID vaccinations going out into our community. I am really concerned that is not being done equitably, that Black and Brown community members are being left out of fair access to the COVID vaccines. And of course, most of us are frontline essential workers. And so we have to make sure that we get the vaccine distribution done correctly. That means equitably, and it means quickly, and it means we've got to really stand up our infrastructure to be able to do that. The sooner we do that, the sooner we get a saturation of vaccination within our communities, the faster we're going to be able to get back into our favorite restaurant with our favorite server, eating our favorite lunch, whether it's in downtown or the Central District. And that has got to be top priority. In terms of building bridge and relationship, I think that the equitable economic relief strategies that we're going to need to put in place are going to require us all to put the past behind us and focus on the future. How are we going to be coming together to deliver equitable economic relief, to make sure we have a just recovery moving forward. And, a lot of folks want to go back to the normal. I'm not interested in going back to the status quo. I'm not interested in going back to normal. We have an opportunity here to actually truly get to an economic relief strategy that is going to be equitable. And that means centering small business owners that are owned by folks of color, that are owned by immigrants, that are owned by refugees, that are owned by women, and making sure that the ones that have been the hardest hit during this pandemic, are the ones that we are deeply investing in and prioritizing in our investments to get our economy back up and running.
Trey Holiday?
Yeah, I think it's important when we talk about issues of diversity and issues of systemic oppression, racism. I think that we clearly saw there was a wide variety of people in the streets. It wasn't just people from the global majority. It was all people that were out in the streets really protesting against not just police brutality, but systemic and institutional oppression. And my question for you, because you just said there that, you're not interested in getting back to the norms, that we really have an opportunity here to create new norms, to bring in new mechanisms and new ideals that really that would break down a lot of those kind of normal barriers that we've seen before. What are some of the ways that you would intend to do that as mayor?
I think that's a big goal, and it's a big job, and no single person can do it alone. I have really worked hard to surround myself with people who come from community, from people who are going to work with me to listen to community and to identify solutions. When I think about what we can do to dismantle institutionalized racism, sometimes in government, it is as simple as actually thinking about it, is actually having it at the top of your mind. How does this particular policy, even if it's the placement of a sidewalk in a neighborhood, how does this advance or harm the goals around racial equity in particular? And I bring that lens to my work every day now as a council member, and I don't do that because there's this race and social justice initiative that exists on paper, which I believe in. I center racial equity because I'm a woman of color, because I come from an immigrant family, because I understand what it means to live in a community that is designed to oppress you. And so for me, leading first and foremost with the question of how does this help or harm racial justice is a leading principle for me as a policymaker and as a member of this community.
Right, ma'am. I know that we have you until 11:30. Were you able to give us until 11:32?
Sure.
Okay, so
I would love to spend 2 more minutes with you.
Because I got 2 questions for you here. One is, I believe you live over in West Seattle, right? That's the part of town. All right, so you live in West Seattle. The city, the auditor, one of these departments said that the city should be spending like $34 million a year on road and bridge maintenance. Right now, it's only about $6 million, and they've been doing deferred maintenance. We see that a lot of these bridges and roadways are in repair. How do you convince the city and the city council then, if you're mayor and everything, to put the money there? Like, bridge maintenance isn't a sexy thing. It's not something people are tweeting about. It's not all these kind of things. But clearly our city has fallen into decay because these things haven't been maintained. And some issues are really important for us, which are clearly social justice issues, but the roads are really important issue as well for all citizens of Seattle. How do you go about that, putting money back into infrastructure?
Man, y'all don't live in West Seattle, because I hear about the West Seattle Bridge all the time. It is literally, if I go to the grocery store and I get spotted, even with my mask on, it's like the number one thing people say. So what about this bridge? So it is, the West Seattle Bridge is critical to regional mobility, not just of people, but of goods throughout the area. When we're talking about trying to figure out how to recover from our economy, that main bridge that is a connector between us and the rest of the region is super important to repair. Not to mention the just public safety hazard of what would happen if it comes crumbling down. So we've been hard. I've been personally hard at work at getting all the dollars available to make sure that we have the money we need to repair and repair that bridge. And we have a huge task ahead of us to continue to identify how we can loosen up other flexible dollars to meet the bridge and road maintenance issues throughout the city. But I agree. I mean, just to get to the heart of your question, though, there's the stuff that gets the headlines and that people have much more public awareness of, and then there are things that impact the livability and connectedness of our neighborhoods every day. And for me, that's part of the reason I want to be mayor. I want to be able to make sure that every neighborhood is a vibrant, livable community where you can step out of your door and find affordable childcare and access to groceries and healthcare. These are things that make us all feel safe and valued in the place where we have chosen to live. And those things are about the day-to-day, day in, day out work, and don't get the headlines, but are just as important as any other work that is the responsibility of the mayor.
Right. And now we came together here, me and Trey Holiday. And, we always hear candidates talk about fighting for this, fighting. Man, we've been covering too much stuff. We tired of hearing the fighting, but some things are important to fight about. But so I've got a question here. This is kind of from both me and Trey, is that when it comes here to the city of Seattle and you being mayor of Seattle, what do we need to fight for? What do we need to nurture? And what do we need to heal?
Mark, you always ask me those last questions. It always gets me all teary. I think the answer for me to all three questions is each other. We have become so divided and have really created our own camps of people based on binary choices. And so for me, it's about fighting for each other. It's about seeing the other person across the table from me, even if I disagree with them or they disagree with me, seeing them for who they are as a human and as a person who may disagree about how to get to the destination, but shares the goal of getting to that destination. And for me, that destination is about shared prosperity. It's about our collective well-being. And I think we stand a better chance of achieving our shared collective prosperity if we do it together.
All right. Council President Gonzalez, candidate for mayor of our dear Emerald City, thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Omari. Great to see you both.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Trey Holiday.
Man, that video was real powerful. And I see people in the comments like, well, did other people have a video? I mean, you got to be able to pull that together. And clearly, Council President Gonzalez has wanted to make sure that, her video was really rooted in her history and what brought her to where she is today. And I know that there's a lot that the city council has to atone for. A lot of folks in the comments just being like, well, where was she when this happened or when this happened? And I understand where people are coming from, but it was great to hear more about her background and to hear some of her vision for what she would be doing differently as mayor. I really did actually like that last statement that she said, because we do have a lot of disunity right now. And so bringing it all together as much as we can, as my shirt says here, unity, thank you, collective. But I think that she's right in that regard, that we do need more and more unity as much as we can get.
Yeah, well, being a current elected official, like I said, Council President Gonzalez is going to have to run on her record. She has a record in government, and the city council, my friend. The city council, it's a lot of, we got to do another like a 1 hour special. This was just introduction of the candidates, and we plan to have all the candidates back over the next few months. We went to the primary to talk to them more in depth about things. But It's going to be real interesting to talk to her more about her policies, and the things that she supported there on council, and what she would plan to support as mayor. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to take a short break right now. We got where's the funny guy? He's so funny. He's going in and out the camera in the green room. Man, stay in front of the camera. We're going to take a short break right now. We come back. We got funny man, Sweeng One. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury here in the Salisbury Studios, and joined by the ever amazing, brilliant, and just all around great person, Trey Holiday.
Hey, what up, Big O? Thank you. Always such kind words coming from you. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, some people would say that politicians and comedians, well, they go together because politics can be comedy. Where's Sweeng One? Man, will you stay in front of the camera? All right. Oh, yeah, please bring in Sweeng One.
What's happening?
What up, bro?
What's up, Sweeng?
I was trying to figure out, it was hella clear and then it started going in and out. So I was trying to make sure it wasn't on my end.
It's always on your end, bro.
Yeah, whatever. How you doing, Trey? I'm loving that blue lipstick. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blue,
Good
I
to see
see
you, bro.
Yeah. Better than seeing what's happening,
Man, what's up, Sweeng? I wanted to catch up with you a few things, man. One, I know that you have a morning show going on very early for the very early birds, but also too, as somebody who's directly impacted with COVID. I mean, as a comedian, a stand-up comedian, it's been interesting to watch your transformation from like everything going to be, in person to now how you really embrace this digital space. I see you on TikTok videos doing a Running Man. I see you all day. I mean, I didn't know you was that funny all the time. But first of all, maybe you can talk about your show and your morning show.
Well, the morning show was like, I just was trying to basically stay relevant because, we couldn't do nothing. We couldn't do no shows, even though they're trying to open up now. So I just decided to just do something that'll kind of stand out because everybody's doing podcasts. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, maybe if I could just commit to doing it every morning. And then I ended up getting my son, so I kind of cut back on doing it every morning. But it's turned out for the best. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I see that, man. Was you scratching your? You need some lotion? You look like you was reaching.
No.
Look like you was reaching.
I'm not used to my Fu Manchu. I done cut my sideburns off.
Hey, listen, man. It's only so much grooming that's gonna help you, bro.
Hey, you ain't the prettiest either,
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. This is why I spent my career in radio.
Somebody in Conversion told you was nice looking. That's what happened.
No. I spent my whole career in radio because I know I don't have a face for TV.
No, you do, man. You just fine.
Yeah,
you look just like my mama.
Oh no, you guys are reminding me right now of Afion and Kevin Hart going back and forth.
I know. I told myself I was gonna be serious. Okay, I'm ready.
Where was you last Friday when Trey was fired up? It was supposed to be Feel Good Friday.
You will not let me live it down. Oh, you know what? The audience appreciated that. Sometimes you got to get fired up.
He wasn't feeling good on Friday.
No,
You know, it was a mix. It was a mix.
I feel you. It'd be like
she was
that.
on fire, man. Tell us what's up with these whatchamacallits, man? Where you keep getting all this inspiration for all this content you keep putting out? Because I keep seeing you making stuff. Like this morning update show was a heavy lift. I'm doing one thing a day and trying to go to bed.
You know what? It's my son, man. My son be like, let's do it. Let's do a TikTok right now, Dad. Let's right now. You should whoop us and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He just be having hella ideas and he keep me motivated. He got that little young energy in him. Yeah, I'm glad he's out here. We've been putting it together like booty cheeks.
Your son sound a lot like Nikki Barrett. She be honest, like, man, where's your TikTok video? Let's do TikTok. Let's
do a couple of Converge TikToks.
No, Nikki Barrett sent me the script, but she had me dancing in it and something. You know? I was like, I gotta send this to my agent first. See if I can do this.
Oh, and that's on TikTok under Converge. I'm gonna check that out.
No, we're on there though. We got TikTok. We actually we're doing some Black History segments that's going into our TikTok. So you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so we're trying to push on that, man. How can people best support? Or one, we all need support. So how can people best support? How can people get up with you? How do they find you on social media?
Okay, let's start with support. Okay, my Cash App is Who's Ranking Radio LLC. Nigga need a lot of support. And I'm on Twitter, Sweeng Wizzle, Instagram, Sweeng Wizzle, Facebook. Sweeng One is comedy, YouTube, Sweeng One is comedy. Like, I ain't hard to find. I'm right here. Friendly neighborhood in the show with a space needle, Sweeng Wizzle. Yeah. Shameless plugs.
Man, and that was the coldest. I thought that our donate was whatever. I mean, man, like, hey, Trey, hold on, let me see. I got this on here. Did you see him? He was like, yo, so how you can do is you can donate. Let me tell you right now, this is how you gonna donate.
Wait, I really want to give a shout out to the community though, because when my house burned down, man, the community came through. Like, I didn't even know people rock with me like that. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I lost everything, no insurance, you know. Me, I get to it, and then it got to me first, and it kind of tore me up, and the community came through, and I was just like, thanking God. It was a blessing, man. I appreciate y'all.
That's all love, man. That's how community does. We talk about community as an extension of family because it's built on real relationships, man. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
I love that.
All right, Sweeng. Well, you know, just wanted to check back in with you, and apparently you're still funny, kind of. So
yeah, you too. I appreciate it. Hey, I need one of them shirts though.
He gets serious when he get in front of the camera like that. He ain't playing.
Look at him.
I need one of those shirts. Oh,
come on down to the studio, man. You know what I'm saying? Love to catch up with you in person, man. You're more than welcome anytime. And man, you know, you guys out there, you want to see a funny guy from Seattle, from the neighborhood. Check out Sweeng One and Sweeng Wizzle, as he said. That's WHIZZLE, Wizzle, and you know, get a laugh for the day. Appreciate you, Sweeng.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. And I'm sorry for wearing that T-shirt at the Paramount Theater. I was going to apologize for that. Through this big old concert with Lil J. He had some huge names. I came through looking like regular Sweeng with the big old T-shirt and the jeans. You know, I just came from a long hangover. I was like, what are you doing, man? I apologize for that, brother. That was in my young adolescent years. I apologize.
Hey, man,
this time I'm going to iron my T-shirt.
15 years later, it's never too late, man. Talk to you soon, Sweeng.
Guys, never late. Love y'all.
All right.
Oh my God, love that, brother, man. It's great to bring in some good old laughs on this Friday, man. This week been a long week. I think all these weeks, man, in 2021, man, it's happy with that when we get to Friday. So thank you for bringing this thing on.
Yeah, it's still like 2020, to be honest with you. And so what we got up next, we're gonna take a break. And when we got up next, I got my nephew. I got Izzy. He's out Washington, D.C. I see him. You see him in the green room back there. He's already turned. Like, what? I'm going live. We're going to go to break too. Oh, yeah. When we come back, We're talking to my nephew, Izzy Smith, out in Washington, D.C. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. It's Feel Good Friday, Trey.
It's feeling good too, oh.
Yeah, and I'm figuring after last Friday, I figured we needed to load up on the feel goods over here, man. So I've got my nephew Izzy. He's out there in Washington, D.C. And, he wanted to have a serious conversation. I talked to him. I was like, man, what do you want to talk about? I was going to talk about, I don't know, Minecraft or something. He's like, I want to talk about the challenges young people face during COVID, during school or whatever. Oh, yeah, please bring in this young scholar. Izzy.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How are you? Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Did you say hi to Treyana?
Hi.
Hi.
I love you, Trey.
Oh, God.
Oh, thank you. Love you back.
That's East Coast love right there. That's my sister.
Right there.
Tarima. And they're out there in DC. So Izzy, I mean, you're live to the world right now, man. And I heard that you wanted to talk about some of the challenges and maybe innovations that you face as a young scholar with COVID. So tell us about it. What's going on?
So I've been in school. It's been a little bit boring. I'm not going to lie. But I've been in school learning new things like about the earth. And I've been learning about COVID and the inauguration and all of that. And also, I have an assignment. I got an assignment from my school that I wanted to share to you guys about if I was the president, what I would say. So I'm going to read it. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I come to you to tell you what I'm going to be doing while president. First is COVID-19. And we all know that it hasn't been the best for us. But the things that could help us until we find a cure is wearing a mask, staying in the house, keeping 6 feet away from people, washing your hands for 20 seconds, and more. If we do at least some of these things, if we don't do at least some of these things, we could lose our life. So in that case, we need to stay patient, wait for the cure, and stay prayed up. Next is the racism. It has to stop. It's been going on for forever now. So we need to find peace, justice, unity, and for people to stop killing, for people to stop harming or killing people who are different from you. This country is beautiful. We just need to show it. We can make the world a better place if you change.
Hey.
All right. All right.
Yes, young king. Absolutely.
You ain't too far from the White House. We might have to send that over to Biden.
Yes, give them the message from the young folks. Absolutely.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, Izzy. I want you to know this. I haven't seen you in a minute. COVID. I used to come out there to DC a lot and see Izzy and Brother Elijah, but I haven't been out there in a minute. But I want you to know, man, that I'm real proud of you. I'm super proud of you, boy.
Thank you. You sound like your dad.
Well, that's good. That means you're coming from a good space. From a good space.
I'm sure the sentiment is felt by all of our audience right now. You should see all these hearts, everybody going up and loving on you, Izzy, and everything that you just said. Absolutely. It's felt amongst us all.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Good job, Izzy. We're going to let you go right here, man. You know what I'm saying? You feel free to come on anytime, especially on Feel Good Friday, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you
Bye,
soon.
Izzy.
Ain't no way you going to get it fired up after seeing something beautiful like that, right?
Oh, come on. You know what? I'll get fired up in my passion for these young people. My two sons. And I know it probably took you back to the days of little Omi being even littler, man. Like, in all the ways that you just get so proud of your kids when they start having that mind of their own, man. It's beautiful and brilliant.
You know, it took me back to them days. My mama used to have me sitting there, right? And I'd have to go and do these recitals and some of everything else, man. It's like, you know, that boy is, I mean, you know, some people are just electric. That boy is just electric. It's just radiating, man. I can't wait to get back out to DC and see him. Hey, let's take a quick merch break here real quick. And we're going to come back. Yesterday was Rosa Parks' birthday. We found a nice video. We want to acknowledge that. And then also, I think somebody might have some gear for me. You're watching the Morning Update Show. All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. We're going to jump right into this video. It's about 5 minutes long, but it's about Rosa Parks. Yesterday was Rosa Parks' birthday. Icon, man. We'll play this video. We'll come right back, and we'll see you on the other side.
In 1944, 11 years before her fateful decision on a Montgomery bus, Rosa Parks was investigating a vicious crime. As an emissary for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, she had traveled to rural Alabama to meet with Reese Taylor, a young woman who had been sexually assaulted by 6 white men. It would be difficult enough to convince an Alabama court that even one of these men was guilty, but Rosa was undeterred. She formed a committee to defend Reese in court, flooding the media with testimony and sparking protests throughout the South. When a jury failed to indict the attackers, Parks demanded the governor assemble a new grand jury. She wrote, "I know that you will not fail to let the people of Alabama know that there is equal justice for all of our citizens." Throughout her life, Parks repeatedly challenged racial violence and the prejudiced systems protecting its perpetrators. But this work came at an enormous risk and a personal price. Born in 1913, Rosa was raised by her mother and grandparents in rural Alabama. But outside this loving home, the fear of racial violence cast a long shadow. The Ku Klux Klan frequently drove past their home, and Jim Crow laws segregated public spaces. At 19, she settled in Montgomery and married Raymond Parks, a barber who shared her growing fury at racial injustice. He was involved with the local chapter of the NAACP, a role many avoided for fear of persecution. At first, Raymond was eager to keep Rosa safe from the potential dangers of activism. But as she grew more incensed at the limitations imposed on African Americans, she could no longer stand by. When she officially joined the NAACP in 1943, Parks and Johnny Rebecca Carr were the only women in the Montgomery chapter. She began keeping minutes for their meetings and soon found herself elected secretary of the chapter, formally beginning her secret double life. By day, Rosa worked as a seamstress to support her mother and husband. By night, she researched and documented numerous civil rights cases, from local policy disputes to high-profile murder cases and hate crimes. As secretary, she prepared public responses on behalf of the Montgomery chapter, battling the harsh sentencing, false accusation, and smear campaigns frequently used against African Americans. In addition to her legal work, Parks was a brilliant local strategist. As advisor to the NAACP Youth Group Council, she helped young people navigate segregated systems, including voter registration and whites-only libraries. Through the cover of the NAACP, Parks strived to bring clandestine civil rights activities into the open. She advocated for civil disobedience training and spoke out against racial violence, particularly the murder of Emmett Till. In 1955, her refusal to move to the back of a segregated bus helped ignite the grassroots movement she had hoped for. Parks was arrested and jailed for her one-woman protest, where she was visited by local activists. Together, they planned a 24-hour bus boycott. It lasted for 381 days. Parks' simple act had transformed nascent civil rights activism into a national movement. In 1956, the boycott ended when the Supreme Court ruled in favor of desegregating public transport. But this victory for the movement had come at a great cost. Rosa had been receiving vicious death threats throughout the campaign and was unable to find work in Montgomery because of her political reputation. In 1957, she moved to Detroit to continue working as a seamstress until being hired by Congressman John Conyers to help support his burgeoning civil rights campaigns. Ever vigilant in the fight against racial inequality, Parks remained active for the next 40 years. She wrote several books, traveled across the country giving talks to support other activists, and established an institute for the education of young people in her late husband's memory. Today, Rosa Parks is remembered as a radical spirit who railed against the most powerful people and policies. Her call to action continues to resound. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. For another fearless woman who knew what must be done, check out this video on Ida B. Wells, a trailblazing journalist who risked her life to reveal the truth when her friends were murdered.
And we're gonna have to talk about Ida B. Wells too. We got so much stuff, Black History Month. Excuse me, Rosa Parks, definitely a trailblazer, and people didn't realize that. I mean, she had a lot of work that she had done before. What she became most famous for, not giving up her seat on the bus.
Right, absolutely. It's so great to understand more about the breadth of the work that Rosa Parks actually gave her energy toward. And honestly, so many of those that we know for one thing or this thing or that, they were doing a multitude of things. I think about what I do now, and maybe some folks only know me from the Morning Update show, but it really is a multitude of things that so many things have to happen simultaneously. So it's great to hear that. And kudos to Miss Rosa Parks. Happy belated birthday to her. It was yesterday, and I love that we're able to share this platform and also share our history during this month, but all months. This is amazing. I'm glad we showed that.
Right. One more segment here, but I want to throw this in here real quick. That it was like, they say for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And what a lot of people don't know, though, is during that Montgomery bus boycott, there was Black bus companies that organized. And so, they were actually growing and thriving and really beyond around the South. They were like, hey, you don't want us to ride your bus? We're going to create, our own bus company, our own economic drivers and everything else. So one of the end results of that, though, in Montgomery is all the Black bus companies went out of business, and the city of Montgomery never really invested in public transportation after that. Of course, they've bought new buses over the years. My grandmother lives there. The city of Montgomery never really we're into transit now and everything else. So there are some ramifications that are out there. But moving on here real quick before we get out of here, Trey, tell us all about it. Medium.
Yes, the Mediums. They did do an event at Pratt Park a couple of weeks ago, and they are doing a recap for those who were not able to see it. We can go ahead and roll the clip so you can see what you're in for if you guys tune in. Yes, yes, happening tonight at 8 p.m. You guys can tune in at the Mediums Collective. And oh, look, I'm wearing mediums today, but I'm not the only one who's going to be wearing mediums, my friend. They
Oh,
brought
you got me
you
some gear.
mediums here.
I got
Yes.
some gear for me, man. I don't
You
never
got some
get
gear,
gear.
man.
Oh,
You're
that's
always
love.
saying, look, man, bring me the gear, bring me the gear. And I was like, look, man,
Because
I
you be
can't
getting blessed.
support
People
mediums
always bring you stuff.
without bringing my bro. So you know what I'm saying? Yay, looking out, man, showing the love and sharing the love, man. They love you too. And they said, please let Big O know we gave him sweatpants so that he can match it with his Converge shirts. Because they know you just gonna rep Converge on the top. They had to make sure you had mediums on the bottom.
There you go. Well, I appreciate that. But much love to the fam over there. Mediums. Man, any last words before we get out of here, Trey Holiday?
Man, I'm ready to make it a great weekend. I think so many of us work really, really hard throughout the week. Take some time for yourself. Self-care is important. I will be doing that this weekend, and you guys will see me back to the studio on Tuesday.
All right. Yeah, that's it. Tuesday, huh? I'm flying solo Monday.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
It's all good. Want to thank our guests, Council President Gonzalez, Sweeng One, and Izzy for popping in all live. You know, you never know how it's gonna go, and so it went very well here today. We're back on Monday at 11 a.m. and as usual, I want to remind everybody to go forward today in your purpose and in humanity. Until Monday at 11 a.m. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.